I hate the sound of her voice. The way that her voice gets like this when she goes, Sophie-chan. I'm like, shut up. I'm done with you. I'm done with your little fucking drool on your mouth. I am done with your wandering hands. I am done with you being like, let me fucking brush your hair, Sophie. She doesn't want her hair brushed. Fuck off, Akari. Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm good.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 114 of the Annie Chat Box, where 5 friends snuggle up in a teeny tiny space to talk about all things anime. I'm Dominic, your host this week, and I'm also accompanied by our producer, down in my living room, just a meter or so away. Cassie.
Hey, I'm here, and I'm queer. And this is the best month to be so. Happy Pride Month, everybody. Woo!
Yeah.
Look at her. Showing off that pride.
Woo!
And across the continent, we have Cami.
Cami.
Okay.
It's happened. Finally, we fused.
They're synonymous if you
yeah.
think about it.
Yeah. Speaking of that good old pride, I'm feeling some cakes, some pancakes. Does anybody want to go get breakfast? I could go for some breakfast with y'all.
Aw, yeah.
And just right in the other room, maybe a couple 10 feet or so away from me, through a wall, is Craig.
I'm slowly dying, and E3 is a thing. Video games are cool, man.
No, video games suck.
Why?
Just kidding. I
But-
disagree. Video games are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not so cool.
I mean, they're even better with Keanu Reeves.
They are better with Keanu Reeves. He's very breathtaking.
Yes, he is.
Next, we've got the resident Brit. We have Jonathan Joestar.
Hello everyone, completely unrelated to other events, but probably more fitting to the anime we're going to be talking about today. I am currently on a completely nocturnal sleep schedule at the moment.
Gross.
British and a vampire. I called that
Yeah.
years ago.
So as a perfect segue into our review today we don't have a main topic. We only have a review because this is a request from one of our patrons, Suki. She requested that we watch the anime Tonari no Kyuuketsuki-san, or the Miss Vampire Who Lives in My Neighborhood. So we're going to be reviewing and talking about that. If you, or anyone you know, wants to listen to us talk about an anime and give it a review, you can request that by supporting us through Patreon. We have a tier specifically for that. You can find that at www.patreon.com/AnnieChatbox.
Woo!
And yeah. So, this show is by Studio Gokumi. Other shows by them include Tsurezure Children, Seiren, and Toji no Miko. The synopsis from my anime list, I believe.
Yep, you got it.
Is as follows. The modern-day vampire comedy centers on a high school girl, Amano, who was saved from a strange incident by a vampire girl named Sophie Twilight, of course, and has been interested in her ever since. Akari arrives at her house uninvited, and the two start to live together. Although a vampire, Sophie never attacks humans, but purchases blood and anime goods via the mail and lives a modern life. So yeah. Let's roll right on into the story for this anime. Does anybody have anything at all that they just have to get out immediately about the story?
I have something.
Okay.
And I mean, me and Cami can bounce off about it, because the thing about the show is there is no real story. It's
Nope.
mostly just following the characters and their day-to-day lives with, cute girls doing cute things, slice of life kind of spiel. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, the market has become so oversaturated with cute girls doing cute things shows that at this point, they kind of have to sell you on a gimmick or a specific thing that the girls do. For example, Eurocamp, we got, going out and camping. With K-On!, I guess you could argue, you've got, we want to be in a band, even though all we do is drink, tea and eat cake.
Yep.
Hey, you gotta watch season 2. They do that in season 2.
Oh, okay, well, I wouldn't know. I never got that far, and I will use that as a comparison later for how I felt about this anime. But anyway, I had this really long conversation with Cami about the gimmick in this anime is in the title. It's about a vampire and their day-to-day life. However, I don't think that the show does a very good job of leaning into its vampire gimmick. It does have some pretty cute moments, and it really leans into it in the beginning to set up a really interesting kind of space for the characters to interact in. But for the most part, it's kind of just a secondary trait of the show for the most part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's basically the whole conversation that we had, and that we wished that it went more into that gimmick. There are glimpses of it in the story with like certain characters bringing up, honestly, things that could have developed, as Cassie said, into some slight drama, but they just didn't. They just kind of like abandoned it at the wayside. And yeah, then it just kind of felt like you were going through your day-to-day like cute girls doing cute things spiel, and the gimmick, just wasn't very strong. And I think for me personally, I just also wasn't like a huge fan of the gimmick in the first place. Maybe it's because I just watched a vampire anime. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I really liked when they leaned into the vampire thing. I think what my first sentence to Cami when she asked what I thought about this show was, when I finally had watched some of it, was, "It's okay. It's nothing special. I like vampires."
Yes.
That's it. That was my review. Like, in the moments with Sophie that are very much a modern vampire living in a modern world, like her ordering blood online, or her keeping books throughout the ages that meant so much to her, and things like those were interesting, but they kind of fell to the wayside, and eventually it's just, let's have this one tiny vampire thing, and the rest of it will just be us prattling about.
Yeah. I think my other big issue is that a lot of the jokes were very like cyclical or repeated. We'll get into it more with characters, but there was just in the back of my mind, there was the thought, if I didn't laugh the first time, I'm not going to laugh at this the 16th time. But the show didn't really get it with its comedy. So I didn't find it funny, and I found it repetitive, and that was just kind of a bummer to me. I don't know if y'all found some of the jokes like super funny.
No.
Ah, okay.
Honestly, I can't remember much of them. I remember a reference in the later half of the show when you mentioned the books and her keeping the books. She also kept a Game Boy, if I remember right. And I'm like, oh, that's cute.
She does, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think they even mentioned like Mario or something, like she wanted like a specific game. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah, she moved to Japan because she wanted Mario too.
I mean, that's good reason. There are some actual moments, not necessarily of comedy, that I felt a little bit of intrigue with the show, and then they didn't do anything with it. For example, when they're talking about the fact that she doesn't know what it's like to have a family anymore.
Yeah.
And they're pretending to be like her older sisters or whatever. That could have been a perfect moment to have a flashback or anything to make us care about Sophie. There's also a situation later where she's looking at some morning glories, and she's like, I don't like looking at flowers because they're so frail and they die so quickly. Like, there's so much potential to make this show really interesting, and then it just didn't go anywhere with it. I did find some of the jokes funny. I thought it was hilarious how Ellie's character was gone for so long. I also found some of the interactions between Sophie and Hinata in the cast to be pretty entertaining. And there were a couple of moments, like when she drops the laptop that Cami mentioned off air, that made me laugh too. But for the most part, I wouldn't say that I was busting a gut or that the repeated jokes especially were funny, because they really weren't.
Yeah, it's a shame that the jokes that were repeated were like the worst ones that we will talk about later. Yeah, so that was kind of a shame. But yeah, I agree. The stuff about a family and just like the fact that vampires stay the age that they are when they were bitten. Like, they brought up some interesting stuff like that with Sophie and then again with Ellie's character.
Oh, yeah.
That I wish they leaned more into.
There were some jokes that I found amusing, and I think I enjoyed it enough that I probably would have finished it on my own eventually.
Thirst is another element of the story, and I think we should talk about the thirst. The thirst that Akari, the main character, has for Sophie is almost always exclusively uncomfortable. The thirst of all the other characters is actually done tastefully and can be actually some moments of comedy that I found enjoyable. For example, Hinata's obvious obsession with Akari, I'm getting their names right, correct?
Yep.
Like, there's a scene where she's saying, oh, I know all these things about her that are great, and then Sophie kind of leans into the fact, maybe you're a bit obsessed, and she's like, oh no. That was a joke I kind of laughed at. But I think that Hinata is painfully aware of how obsessed she is as well.
Yeah.
And she restrains herself, which is something that Akari cannot for the life of her do.
Yeah.
Cass, Sophie looks so much like a doll and so cute. Wouldn't you want to live with her?
That's another joke that I thought was funny when they were in like the doll display and she sat down and tried to look really still and then she fell asleep and then a bunch of people took pictures of her. I thought that was funny.
And then she woke up again and scared everyone.
Yeah. You won't understand that joke unless you watch the show, so I don't think it's necessarily a spoiler, but they did have a couple of moments of scattered comedy that I thought was funny.
That's true. I think the other part I did like is Sakuya, who is the leader of like the occult club. She like goes over and she's like, oh my gosh, I get to see a real vampire. And you know, she has like all these like preconceptions of what a vampire is and they just slowly get crushed one by one by one. That was kind of cute.
Another joke that happened in the first couple episodes was Sophie's asked, can you not come into somebody's house unless you're asked? And she's like, well, I mean, technically we can. And they were like, oh, well, what will happen? She's like, the people there will think that I'm painfully rude. And I just thought that was cute, too. Like, if they leaned into that kind of comedy consistently, I think it probably would have been a pretty good show.
Yeah, vampire lore comedy.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I think all of the vampire lore comedy tend to get at least a chuckle out of me.
I think the other thing that I noticed, just narrative-wise, and to be fair, it's like relevant in this sort of genre. And cute girls doing cute things, you are going to have a lot of like girls sitting in rooms talking, but like this show to me just felt particularly static, that it was like we were always in the living room like having conversations. They did get out to other places, but like I don't know. At times I just felt like there wasn't enough happening, but again, that's like kind of for the genre. So I think it really then goes back down to what Cassie mentioned about the gimmick. Does the gimmick work? And as we will dive into characters, do the characters fill it out and like make it worthwhile? That's just a question to ask and evaluate on this show.
Dominic, you've been really quiet.
Well,
Yeah.
You guys have just been going back and forth, and I'll be honest, there are not very many thoughts I have on this show that are particularly
Worth it.
groundbreaking. This show is not for me. Comedy, very like just almost never hit for me. I had this thought about it, is that the comedy is very much like something you would watch and not really laugh at, but you would like take screenshots of it and then post it on Twitter and like maybe have like a little goofy little, addition on your tweet, and then maybe like 1 or 2, 3 other people might like it or something. That kind of show.
I feel so attacked right now.
Yeah, Cassie did that.
Because I literally did that.
Yeah. It's like one of those anime. It's not really that funny on its own. It's just you kind of have to maybe try and live tweet it to make it worth it. I don't know, but I don't really do that anymore, and a lot of the jokes were either incredibly recycled just continuously when they weren't, like Cami said, they weren't funny in the first place, or like what Cassie is saying, it would have like these moments where it was trying to be like kind of witty with something, and then like it never goes anywhere. One thing that I felt was kind of disappointing is like in the first episode, one of the first jokes that they kind of use sort of intermittently is the road roller joke, which is a JoJo's reference where, the vampire Dio, he comes down with the road roller, and she makes
You
a joke.
taught me
I
that,
can
by the
pick.
way.
Yeah, I'm so strong. I can pick up a road roller, and they don't have a lot of like jokes like that. Like it's and one thing that kind of disappointed me. There's an episode where where they come into contact where like there's a vampire hunter who comes in and is like, "Oh, I'm here to hunt the vampire," and there's no like
follow up.
There's no like real like that could have been a good opportunity to have like a Castlevania joke or something. I don't know, just have some more actual references to actual like vampire media outside of just generic
That's
lore.
a good point. That's a good point.
A lot of the vampire like references or lore or whatever is just very by the books, basic vampire, like knowledge. Other than this one thing where, I can pick up a road roller. Like, we have this random JoJo reference in there. We're not going to have anything else like that in there. I don't know. I just thought that was disappointing. I would have liked more stuff like that. At least then I could be like, haha, I got that reference. I'm cool. I know pop culture, but I didn't even get that. I just kind of got to sit here while these girls make the same friggin' 10 jokes about, I don't know, friggin' the sun is bad. And, it makes me so tired. And it's like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, actually, so the sun joke the first time, I think the first time it like gave me a slight chuckle because she's so peaceful. She's like, this is beautiful. And then it's like, oh shit. But you're right, they do recycle it. Yeah. And you make a really good point because now I'm just thinking about it, especially with Ellie, she could have been a good one to bring out like more of the lore specific stuff because she was asleep for so long.
Yeah.
And she's still kind of like old school. I would have loved it if she was like, oh yeah, I spent, a summer at my uncle Nosferatu's house. I would love to have a fucking like cute girls, moe girl say Nosferatu.
Exactly.
Like, please.
Like it's like you guys were saying, the gimmick is so poorly used.
Yeah.
And I think if they had just tapped into that more, like they had just gone ham and just made this a bunch of like goofy ass like vampire
Monsterverse
references and like just kind of a like an homage to vampire like media and like literature and stuff like that, just in the form of just a cute girls doing cute things show, it would have been pretty great. But it's just kind of like, it's that same fucking thing you've seen 100 times, the slight little layer of vampire coated over the top. And I mean, it's just kind of boring in my opinion. I struggled really hard to get through this show.
Yeah.
Dom, what if it had Dracula in the show as an
that
uncle
would have been amazing.
Or father? Yeah,
that would have been amazing. Like stuff like that. Like if her name, like I don't know. It's just if it had just done a little bit more.
What if they went to what if they went to a convention and they just pulled out a Dracula x Nosferatu Jojinshi?
Yeah,
great.
Like just joke around with stuff like that. Fuse it a little bit more with the modern setting. I don't know. It's just the gimmick doesn't do anything for me as it is. And the cute girls doing cute things genre for me is just very like, yeah, I've been there, done that. So the show didn't have a lot to offer me.
Especially with the fact that Sophie is really into manga and anime. They had the opportunities for Sophie to make the more modern references as well. And yeah, beyond the one JoJo's reference.
And like talking about Mario once or something, like there's not a whole lot to really put. Like it's like the Cami, like basically what Cami said and what John brought up. You have one vampire who's like not familiar with anything new. You have one vampire who's been living in the modern society for who knows how long, and then like if they had those two clashing like elements of vampire media and stuff and references or lore to be brought up, and they were going, that would have been really cool, but they don't do that. It's just,
If they had poked fun at Twilight, I would have laughed the fuck out of it. But
yeah.
To throw a little bit of positive energy out there, because
bless your heart.
We've been kind of destroying it so far. I think that there were a couple of standout episodes that I enjoyed a little bit more. For example, when they went to go see the fireworks show because it was something that they could do together with the vampires. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Or when they went shopping and picked out clothes for each other.
That was cute.
That was a cute little thing. So there were some, when they leaned into the wholesomeness of the show, I think that I enjoyed it a little bit more. Than even some of the jokes. I think that if they had leaned more into those kind of interactions between the characters, I may also have enjoyed it a little bit more because, as Cami said, it gets kind of repetitive. We're going to have a conversation in this living room for 5 minutes every episode. If they had gone out and done little things together each time, maybe I would have liked it a little more. I don't know. But I did like those moments. I just wanted to point them out.
I did really like the bit where they went to the book signing, where Sophie and Akari went to the book signing, because there was a lot of subtle things that happened during that I really liked. Like, there was a moment where Sophie had been walking along in the shadows and Akari was walking along in the sunlight, but the wall that Sophie was walking along ended, and therefore she was going to be in direct sunlight. So Akari switched sides so that Sophie could walk in her shadow, and then she lost her parasol, and Sophie jumped up to protect her, and just moments like that I really liked. And then they didn't do it anymore, and they just
I will say for me, my history with this was I watched this, I think, directly after watching all of Uzumade. So
Oh no. Oh, Craig.
So I will say no, in this I will actually be positive on this show in the sense of while the show doesn't do anything revolutionary, the thirst and the creep factor was not nearly as dialed up to 11. I'd give it like a soft 8 on the thirst meter. Akari being the extreme end of this, but like the unfortunate thing about the show is it's not really memorable. Like, it does have some standouts. It does, like, it flirts with the idea of introducing aspects of vampire lore with the backgrounds with Sophie and Ellie, but it doesn't really, as you said, it doesn't really commit. So it's kind of unfortunate, and it's just, as Cami said, it's kind of, we're all just chilling in the living room like a sitcom here, and we're talking about ordering shit on Amazon, I guess, next episode. So I don't know, it's very serviceable, I guess, in the cute girls doing cute things genre. To me, anyway. Your enjoyment factor may vary depending on who you are.
Mm-hmm.
One other aspect of the story, and this was touched on very early, I'm going back to negative for a moment, but this episode was touched on a little bit earlier. The Vampire Hunter episode, that character never comes back. It was a completely pointless episode, and there was no point. I know John apparently liked them, and I did like some moments with them too. The occult girls were not necessary either.
yeah.
Like, they were so underutilized that they were not necessary. So there's so much on top of, in a 12-episode show as well, there's so much fat that could have been trimmed to make this show a little bit better. I don't know how much they were slaves to the original source material, but I feel like we could have had some more fun with the main cast if we didn't have an entire episode dedicated to a character that has no point, and another couple episodes dedicated to other characters that really didn't have much of a point outside of one joke that was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing that frustrated me a whole lot. There are moments that I felt like I was wasting my time, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I think I had that very same sentiment. And as Dominic also said, like watching this was kind of a struggle for me. Like,
it was not a struggle for me. At one point I looked at Dominic and was just like, it was okay. Like, I'm having an okay time, but there were some definite frustrations with the plot.
Do you want to move on to characters?
I just want to hear Cami yell about Ikari.
Yeah.
oh my
Yes,
god.
please do.
So I am so glad I walked into a call for the most part where everyone else felt the same, because I fucking hate Akari so much. Like, everything, like, literally, honestly, in the first, like, 5 minutes? At first I just thought she was boring and she had no personality. And then she opens up about this creepy fucking doll shit and I'm like, oh no. I hate her and I'm gonna have to deal with her for 12 episodes. Like, I was already just assigned to, like, be like, oh, this is gonna be a slog, man. But it got worse. It got much worse because she literally, like, she flips on a switch to do her creep shit and then she just goes back to being, like, standard and then she's creepy. I hate the sound of her voice. The way that her voice gets like this when she goes, Sophie-chan, I'm like, shut up. I'm done with you. I'm done with your little fucking drool on your mouth. I am done with your wandering hands. I am done with you being like, let me fucking brush your hair, Sophie. She doesn't want her hair brushed. Fuck off, Akari.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
I'm good.
It's very hard to like a show when the main character sucks.
Yeah.
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 Because I think that the times I had the most fun, I think one of my favorite episodes was when Hinata and Sophie cooked together, and that's because Akari was not present for most of it.
You know what? Yes. Same. Big fat
It was-
same.
Yeah, because, like, I agree with most of the points that Cami makes. It's also just, like, a shame, too, because I didn't mind the doll thing. I wish they would have leaned more into making that funny, because that was one of the jokes I laughed at, was the fact that she left dolls around her house and scared the shit out of her dad. That's funny!
Yes.
But after that, they're just there to be creepy and her to pet them and brush their hair occasionally. Like, they didn't even commit to that joke. Instead, they commit to the joke where she's a fucking weird lecher, and it's not even funny. Like, she's just almost as bad as the character in Uza made, except for that she's age-appropriate this time.
Thank you.
It's a reversal. It's a reversal in age.
It's not even a reversal. It's the same exact role.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially even just going back on your bit about, like, how, like, let's say the Vampire Hunter episode. What if we took that out and we had an episode where, like, Sophie or Elliot or somebody in the house accidentally broke one of Akari's, like, porcelain dolls. And the whole time they're freaking out and she becomes, like, you know, like, super fucking pissed or, like, a demon or something. That would have been really funny, like, to go into that doll stuff. But it's literally just flip a switch. Oh, I'm gonna say something innocent and now I'm gonna make it pervy even though I know you're not interested. I'm gonna try again because I'm a fucking idiot. Like, it just, she got old so quickly.
Her thirst is not funny, and then
Nope.
that's her character. She's just the thirst machine. And listen, I'm all for thirst. I'm a thirsty bitch too. But I can't.
Are you?
I am.
Yeah.
But I can't identify with this character because the object of her desires is definitely not interested, and it just tiptoes on this consent thing. And I don't like it when they do it in harem anime, and I don't like it when they do it here. I don't discriminate. I think that kind of shit is just awful.
Preach it. I agree.
Like, even the whole moving in thing was just like, I brought my bags to move in. It's like, what? Did you ask Sophie for permission to do this? No, Sophie's just as surprised.
Also, her parents are just like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then you never see them again.
No, you don't.
They could have even had an episode where the parents visited. Like, what the heck, man? What the heck?
The parents are worse than in this one than Uza. Well, actually, I don't know which one's worse. Uza-made dad or Akari's parents. Shit.
I mean, Akari's parents are just absent, and to be fair, like, I think that they were just like, oh, okay, you're gonna live with a friend, that's cool. I mean, there's people who do that. I don't know. But the thing that sucks about Akari is that while the rest of the cast is colorful and at least mildly interesting, she is basically a blank slate that we're supposed to care about. And the only thing scribbled on that blank slate is, I am irredeemable and stupid and I hope you hate me. Because that's all that we're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
The show would have been better without her in it.
Yeah.
Just the life of a vampire otaku? Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah, like, I would love if the show was just about Ellie coming back from her nap and then showing up and be like, hey, Sophie, and then it could be like a silly show about two vampires, roommates, having these weird obstacles in their way because of the different times they are used to.
I agree.
Like, I think Dominic suggested that before. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, we didn't get that, though.
Nope.
So, since we're all in agreement that Akari fucking sucks,
Yeah.
how about we talk about characters we do like?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first? Who wants to be up to bat?
I'll start.
Yeah, Craig, go.
So Sophie Twilight, out of all the characters, like, I was torn between her and Ellie, to be quite honest, in terms of, like, characters, that, or top tier in the Icon verse. I liked her because she literally came off as the girl that was like, I'm so done with your shit. Like, why are you here? Begrudging. She's literally just like, I just want to keep to myself. I want to shop on Amazon. I want to drink my blood, refrigerated blood, keep to myself in my living room. And then she's like, oh great, I have a fucking whatever Cass said about Akari. She's a lech, or she's a freeloader in my house. It does that thing, though, with most cute girls doing cute things, where eventually she realizes, man, my life is so much better with friends, which I guess is fine. I mean, more the merrier, I guess, but, you know, I can relate to how done Sophie is with everyone's shit at times.
Can you also relate to her body pillow coffin?
Possibly, although, like, I don't have a coffin myself. I was more amazed at the fact that she got so many of them, and then she questioned why it was such a tight fit.
That was cute.
Yeah.
Honestly, I picked a different character for who I wanted to talk about today, but Sophie was probably going to. I was torn because Sophie for me was also the life of the show. She was what made the show at times funny. She also had a really cute design. I liked her design a lot. I also thought that it was silly and fun to have a weird otaku vampire who likes to run out in the sunlight to go get to a book signing. That's cute.
Yeah.
Also, her collection of books I found really nice. That she, you know, those are where her memories came from, are things that she collected over time. Again, something they didn't lean into enough, but something that was nice.
I also really liked her assumption that everyone that was staying up to watch late night anime and then posting about it instantly on Twitterverse were also vampires.
Oh, that was cute. Yeah, that was cute. That was good because it was a dig at people that are like lurking on my anime list in Kitsu at midnight. So that was good.
She's a walking call out post, and that was part of the fun of her character because she could take a hit when it comes to making fun of herself, and I think that that's great. I also think that she as a lead, because that her and Akari are basically the leads, and if I have to, you know, pick between the two of them, well, one of them's the worst, so.
Yep.
Also, I love her name, Sophie Twilight. It's just cute. I like it.
She's so chill, and while I think outside of Akari, it wasn't like portrayed too badly, I just didn't personally get a lot of fulfillment from like all of the girls being like super like lovey on each other. It didn't bother me. It just really didn't do much. And I like how Sophie's literally just like the most platonic character, and I enjoyed that about her. She's just like, I just want to chill and watch anime and have fun.
That's a mood.
And she always just like flat out refused stuff from Akari, which I was like, good. That's good. I'm with you. I respect that. I respect those boundaries.
Yeah, she was really good at sticking up for herself and when things were not worth her time. Which is good. They easily could have made her like a maiden or something, which they didn't do.
Yeah, nah, she was her own person. She was good. I also enjoyed her a lot.
Her lack of thirst is what made her the best.
Exactly.
A little bit.
That's what I think.
Which is why my picture's kind of a contradiction. Then I could just go
the
next.
Picture of thirst?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Ellie, okay, so whilst I was watching this show, and I was pretty still kind of like not super into it around episode 4, and I kept seeing Ellie's design in the opening, and I was like, she's so freaking cute. I think I will like her. Maybe she'll save this show for me. And I don't think she ended up doing that for me. And again, she also falls into the like, yeah, I'm gonna be in love and like flirty with everyone. But it fits with her character. I still did enjoy her a lot. Again, I love the shit out of her character design. I like that they have a very interesting interplay with her character of her looking like so small, and she kind of, everyone thinks she's like an emoto, like a cute little sister, but she has a personality that's more of an one-sama, like the helpful older sister type.
It also kind of just ties into the whole lore, flirts with the lore again, where it's just like, yo, I'm a vampire, and I'm older than you all motherfuckers. Despite looking like a kid, I can't age. This kind of fucking sucks.
Yeah, and I liked her. I liked basically that interplay in her personality. I liked her struggle that they briefly brought up on why she is insecure about the way she looks. And Cassie also brought up a good point that a lot of the way that she romanticizes, like, young girls is very attuned to, like, the old vampire stories where they did sweep up, like, the beautiful young maidens in skirts. And she speaks in a way that's kind of more, like, poetic and in tune to that. So I think I was able to be more tolerant of that. Also, I really liked her relationship with Hinata. I kind of shipped them a little bit. They were cute.
They had some moments that were really cute.
Yeah, so Ellie was good stuff. I did enjoy her character.
Homegirl rocks some heels, too.
Homegirl rocks heels. She also rocks, what was it, like Chanel number 5, and that's all she wears to bed at night. That was so stupid, but it was funny.
Want to take a minute to talk about Hinata together, honey?
Sure.
You can go first.
My favorite character was Hinata. She was the only character I really gelled with very much at all. She's just a mood. She's also just kind of cute and just I feel for her. She thirsts after Akari, who is probably the worst person to thirst after. But I mean, she's so pure and just clingy as shit and wholesome with it that I can't help but,
Root for her?
not root for her, because I don't want her to be with that awful, terrible person, but, I'm just
Wish
like,
for her
oh,
the best.
yeah, I wish the best for her. Hopefully she can move on and find someone that isn't garbage. But yeah, she also has these, she likes dogs. She has a dog. That's a big plus for me. She has a dog.
Oh, right.
The dog is cute.
Recon.
And she also has these self-conscious, concerns about her body, because she's like taller and doesn't think she's that feminine, so she has trouble like wearing feminine clothes, stuff like that, which that's a mood. Yeah, she's just good and cute, and I liked her.
I'm always going to root for the disaster lesbian. Like, that's just how it goes. She was the most wholesome disaster lesbian in the show, and then therefore she wins. But no, I liked a lot of the aspects Dominic already mentioned. She's really cute. I also thought her character design was really adorable. I like how she has the shorter hair and then like the two little tufts at the bottom that kind of like frowned at her face and are kind of like little ponytails. Those are cute.
Mm-hmm.
I also really liked her dynamic with Ellie. I thought that they really bounced off each other really well, and that they did this interesting thing where they kind of had the same issue but from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite episodes because of that. It's because, they actually tried to do something interesting where a human and a vampire could have a similar issue but have different perspectives on it, but come to a same conclusion of, wow, this is something that we need to deal with and we can relate. And I thought that was really cool, and I wish they had done that more. Also, her thirst for Akari is not nearly as creepy. It borderlines it, but it's almost in a wholesome kind of way. I also really like that she tries really hard to support Sophie and all the others when they need help. When Akari gets sick, she's the first one they call. Even though she can't cook and she kind of stumbles with a lot of stuff, she's the most motherly character in the show, and I thought that was nice. Also, her interactions with her little brother are some of the ones that made me laugh.
Oh, yeah, with the food, like the snacks.
It was a really silly, funny dynamic, and I really would have liked to see more of their dynamic. It's very funny. And I just really, really wish her the best, and I think that the show is held together a lot better with her in it. I think I would have had, even though I loved Sophie, I think the show would have been a lot more of a slog for me without Hinata there. She was a nice little highlight, especially because out of the characters in the show, she felt the most like an actual person, like somebody you would actually know and meet. Whereas the other characters, I'm sure they have varying levels of relatability, but you can't really relate entirely to a vampire and their traits. Most of their traits are pretty by the books or archetypes. Whereas Hinata, while she also doesn't necessarily escape an archetype, she kind of is a good example of you can lean into a cute girl having a specific things that you've seen before, but still make it feel refreshing. So I liked her. She's good.
Yeah. Bringing up both the insecurities that Hinata has and the interplay with Ellie and Hinata again, I really did like that episode where they all swapped, like, picking out clothes for people. And I think she tried on, like, a cute dress, and then she felt cute in it. That was nice.
And Ellie supported her. She's like,
Yeah.
listen, bitch, I know what you look good in. This is my area of expertise.
Yeah. So yeah, those were, I think, definitely, like, episodes that highlighted their interplay tended to be my favorites as well. Those were good.
And Akari sucks.
And Akari sucks.
Pretty much. So John, you're the last one.
Yeah. So I kind of cheated. I actually have my icon set as two different characters, Sakuya and Yu, because I liked them as a couple. I kind of wish there was more of them as a result. But yeah, they kind of were just there for a couple of episodes and then kind of shoved to the side and forgotten about, and that's a bit of a shame. Yeah, these two are very clearly dating by a couple of scenes that happens, and like they might be trying to keep it secret, maybe not. Don't know. Akari doesn't know, but these two are part of the occult club, and there's some really amusing scenes involving them. That there was a reference in that one episode, the interview with a vampire, and I think the way that Sophie dressed up was a reference to the movie of the same title, but only when they actually did the interview, like all of their expectations about like what vampires are actually like crumbled, because of course they did. It's this series, and like anytime they were like, "Oh, we found this hot scoop about this mysterious thing going on," and oh, it's Sophie. Okay. There's some moments that got chuckles out of me, and just I kind of wish I'd seen more of them, but yeah, there was moments where there was just them two as a couple, and I'm like, these two are really sweet together, and I like them.
Yeah, I honestly, like, again, I don't think they were necessary, but I did enjoy them, and I kind of would have liked to see more of them as well.
Yeah.
Especially because they were in a sweet, consensual relationship.
I think overall the characters were the only shining grace for the show that at times made it interesting. I don't think that the plot that they were participating in was necessarily that interesting, but they themselves, at least some of them, showed some promise. They weren't the best characters I've ever met in my entire life, and I might forget about them in a bit, but I think that they were the part of the show that at least didn't make it a slog for me like it did everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, do we want to move on to production? I'm just, to get this out of the way, do we have a Craig's production corner?
Oh, okay. Every time I
Craig's
don't
credit
want to.
corner? Is that
I don't
what it's
wanna
called, right?
self-insert it.
Credit corner.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. The director is Noriaki Akitaya, director most notably for Bakuman, all 3 seasons. The writer is Tatsuya Takahashi, did the series composition for Domestic Girlfriend and Aramanga Sensei.
Dun dun dun.
You shut up. Aramanga Sensei was great.
Shit. Also is doing the series composition for that Philosopher's Grandson anime. So there you go. The music. Does it? Is there thirst in Philosopher's Grandson, John?
There's some.
God damn it. The music is scored by Yoshiaki Fujisawa. Primarily did a lot of the Love Live Sunshine, and plays Further Than the Universe music. Yo, the music on this show is very okay. It's just chipper music. I went back and listened to it because I have a memory of a goldfish.
I didn't really care for much of the music. Outside of the openings and the EDs, which I thought were both pretty damn good, I didn't really care for most of the music, nor do I find it memorable, and we watched this show this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember jack of it, and when I went back, I'm like, yep, that's generic background chipper music, alright, okay.
It was okay.
It served its purpose.
I don't know if I'd even call it a plus, because I also agree it was very, like, mainstream, very standard, but a lot of the, like, pacing of it and the instrumentation, I was like, this sounds like basically straight out of the Animal Crossing soundtrack. So sometimes I was like, lols, this sounds like Animal Crossing, but that was about it. Because they used, like, recorders and the xylophones, and sometimes they did the, like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo pacing, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I'd rather be playing the game than watching this, but okay. There we go, soundtrack.
And then you were salty that it's not out on the Switch yet.
Yeah, I'm burying those feelings right now.
I did really like the opening and ending songs, though. I loved the Cutie Ladies. I thought that was cute. And the ending song, I liked how soft it was, and I enjoyed the songs and the visuals as well. But those are really the only things I thought were stand out in regards to music.
It took me, with the Cutie Ladies OP, it took me way too long to get the slightly pun that they were going for with that. Because when I noticed when they actually had the title written on the screen, that the Q part was written in Japanese, and then you got T in English, like in Romanized alphabet. And I was like, oh wait, it's the Q from Kyuuketsuki, which is vampire.
Oh, nice catch. Nice catch. I loved the opening, though I will say there were like 3 days in a row where I went to bed with choo 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 in my head and I woke up with choo 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 in my head, and I started to get a little bit resentful because the song is an earworm that wouldn't leave my head. And then Get confirmed this to his friends on VC when I was watching some, and he was like, everybody look up the Tonari no Kyuuketsuki-san opening, which is literally auditory cancer because it never leaves your head. And I was like, that's a little harsh, and at least it is catchy, but damn, it would not leave my head. Like, I equate it to Maroon 5, as in it's good and it's catchy, but it doesn't leave my head at all.
Oh, that's just mean.
Woo! Boy! I also did like the ending. It was cute. It was good.
Yeah, it was soft and sweet, and I liked the little animations and how they matched the lyric. They're cooking goo. It was cute.
Did anyone else find it, like, I guess I was just confused as to why this show felt like it needed after credit scenes, but okay.
Yeah. And one thing that annoyed me is, like, there's one episode where there's like almost 5 to 8 minute, like, after credit scene. And I remember
that.
I was like so annoyed because I was watching it on the train and I hit the credits and I was like, oh, almost done.
Thank God.
Skip through the credits, get to the after credits scene, and I'm like, oh, this is like a whole chunk. This is like an entire skit on its own. I was like, why? I was so upset.
That episode, they might as well have put the credits in the middle of the episode at that point.
That's bad.
I didn't understand why they did that, but okay.
It was weird. It was unnecessary.
And it was like every episode there was an after credits, like, small or relatively decently sized scene. It was like, why?
Indeed.
You give me the ending and give me this sigh of relief, and then you add this at the end. Why?
They kick you while you're down, and they keep kicking.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I don't really have anything particularly interesting to note on production. I think the show looked okay, I guess. There were never...
It's pretty standard.
It's
Yeah.
pretty standard. It never really does anything particularly amazing with its animation, nor does it really ever look like shit, which is, I mean, that's appreciated.
That's true.
Man, them staying in that living room sure saved the budgetary team. Those girls look cute, alright.
There's not a whole lot, there's not anywhere to really, like, go out of your way to animate anything crazy, so that it was probably not.
Literally the school, the living room, and the forest.
Yeah.
That's not true. They went to the beach once.
You're right, they did.
Oh,
They
there
had to
was
have
an
the-
Umida episode. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that episode was kind of funny. How that one opened. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, the character designs I thought were like, okay. I don't think that they were anything particular stand out, but they were cute, and that's what they were serviced to do. Like, it's a cute girls doing cute things show. If your girls ain't cute, you're fucked up. You're screwed. But otherwise, but they don't do anything to like set themselves apart from other cute girls doing cute thing shows. Like, for example, I think the designs in Yuru Camp are really adorable. And
Yeah.
I will always remember them.
There's a nice, like, style to them. This just has kind of a very plain, cute anime moe girl aesthetic to it. There's no, like, there's no flair to the designs, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
The closest they came with was Ellie, who had some like actual unique style in her design.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's nothing. I mean, I did think it was cute that Sophie's little hairbands look like little bats to me, but
yeah, that's true.
But otherwise, like, they didn't really go out of their way to make these characters, and I'm pretty sure they all have the same goddamn face, so.
Yeah, and I mean, you can even kind of just get a glance at it, like, through our icons, but, like, when the characters emoted, too, they didn't have a lot of, like, crazy flexibility or, like, differences in their expressions. They'd either go to, like, the blank face or just kind of make their eyes look like simplified dots, and, yeah, that didn't do much for me either.
I liked the voice acting in the show. I think that some of the jokes that landed were just because of how like flat Sophie's voice was, or outside of Akari, I think that I liked most of the voices. And I think that they did a pretty good job of bringing character to these characters as much as they could. Especially Ellie. I really enjoyed Ellie's seiyuu. She had a good time.
Same.
I think Ellie is very standout amongst the cast.
She did that interplay again of like her looking cute but like sounding more nurturing and kind of sophisticated in her voice very well.
She also got the like her moments of thirst. She played them in a way that wasn't irritating to hear.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, to be fair, Akari's voice actor did make her very creepy. It was just that I didn't enjoy that fact, but she did a convincing job of making her creepy and detestable, so...
So, you want to move into ratings?
Yeah.
I suppose so.
Alright, Cami, go first.
Damn, okay.
Shit.
Alright.
Pew pew.
Throwing lasers. There's a lot of this show that didn't work for me, but when it comes down to it, I feel like the show I don't feel like I can blame this show for how much I disliked it, like, if that makes sense. I mean, there's so many cute girls doing cute things show, but this show to me also taught me what I need to enjoy a cute girls doing cute things show. I was telling Cassie there's, like, so many other shows that while I was watching this, I was like, damn, I wish I was watching, like, you know, Yuru Camp again because it's art in this genre, or I wanted to be watching, like, Blend S or Comic Girls because Comic Girls had amazing character designs and Blend S had a coffee shop setting, which I really like. Those are things that, you know, there are pieces that I need. I do need a gimmick that I like, or have some really standout art, or do your jokes really funny. And to me, this show just fell very flat, very standard on a lot of things. But, again, that's my personal preference. I think the only thing that I can really call this show offensive for is Akari's character, because you did a lot to be offensive there. So I mean, Yeah, I don't really have much to say. This show wasn't for me. I've read on reviews and heard from a lot of people, even friends of mine, that it for them was very cute and wholesome and made them happy, and that's great. So I personally would give this a skip it, but I'm probably just gonna give it like a check it, I guess, because for some people it works.
All right. John. Your turn. Go.
So, as I said before, I did actually initially start watching this before we got paid to watch it, basically, and I was slowly making my way through it. I did decide to rewatch it again from the beginning for the review, just to make sure that I hadn't forgotten anything, basically. And yeah, so I probably was going to get through it all eventually. Just every so often I'd watch another episode. So yeah, I enjoyed it enough to continue watching it. So for that reason, I can't give it any less than a check it. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a check it as well, because it's doesn't really do anything to stand out and say, "Hey, watch me." So interesting series. Even the comedy isn't particularly great. It was just something I enjoyed enough to watch a bit more every so often, and I wasn't as put off by Akari as everyone else. There were definitely moments where I was like, come on, girl, please stop. Yeah, even then I enjoyed the series enough.
All right. We got 2 check-its. Cassie.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Me?
You. Right over there with the face and the
With
opinions
the
about the anime.
face.
Oh, you assume I have opinions.
I
Them
know
hot
you have
takes.
opinions. You have
Hot
the
take.
takes.
Anyway, getting started. I think that the show is set up to appeal to me specifically because it has a vampire aesthetic, and vampires are one of my favorite ghouls and creatures of the night. I have an unhealthy obsession with vampires. It's one of the few reasons I've been able to get through Diabolic Lovers twice, and I've been considering watching it again.
Oh no.
That show's awful, and I
Oh,
still
no.
watch it because it's one of the few vampire things I can watch outside of Shiki. By the way, if you want a vampire show that is not a comedy but actually a really interesting take on vampires, albeit kind of campy but pretty good, go watch Shiki. It's not going to be our recommendation, but it's a damn good vampire show, and I love it a whole lot. But yeah, this show is set up basically for me to like it, and at the end of the day, I can't say that I fully did. I was jumping back and forth between a check it and a like it for this show, and I think what it comes down to is, did I really like it that much?
Did you?
I didn't. I think that I liked some aspects of it. I think I was way more forgiving of the show than probably everybody here. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna forget this show in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you will.
It's not anything memorable. The jokes that hit well. The vampire aesthetic was nice. I liked Sophie a whole lot. Akari sucked, but at least one of the leads was good, and the surrounding cast was okay as well. So, was it great? No. Was it good? Debatable. Was it something I got through without wanting to kill myself? Yes.
The metric equality.
That's good.
Also, I feel really bad for this show that we're watching it straight off the heels of Shirobako. Like, I feel like it's not fair.
It's not.
No.
Because Shirobako's like
A good.
fucking amazing.
Because that's an example of a cute girls doing cute things show, but different and fun because it's a working girls doing working things show, which is a twist on the genre. At the end of the day, it's still a slice of life show about girls doing cute things, only they're adult things, so that makes them less cute. That's the draw. That's what makes it interesting. There's nothing in this show that is interesting to set it apart from that or Eurocamp or anything else. Also, I have a hard time really enjoying cute girls doing cute things shows. I've been trying to like K-On! Since 2009, and it still just ain't gonna happen.
She won't watch the 2nd season.
I didn't get through the first.
Dom, this leads me to a question. Have you watched season 2 of that show?
Yeah, they used to
K-On?
love
Yeah.
K-On.
I used to be a diehard K-On fan, and then I kind of wasn't that big on the genre anymore. But yeah, I had like a K-On shirt that my mom got me. The first time I went to AX, I bought the K-On Blu-ray. I met with the English voice actors, and I was like super into it
nice.
for a while. I'm not like, I'm giving Cassie shit about it, but I don't really care that much. I just like giving Cassie shit.
The point is, I went into the show with it already having a high bar to get over because I don't tend to be somebody who really enjoys the cute girls doing cute things genre. The vampire gimmick was what would have made it work for me, and they didn't lean into it enough. So I'm kind of on the I'm kind of on the ropes that it's just a standard show, and it may be something that matters to you. I was looking through the reviews on it on Kitsu, and there were so many people that were like, wow, this was what got me through my work week. Wow,
Yeah.
this wholesome little show is one of my favorites of the year, and things like that. So this obviously works for somebody. So I'd say if you particularly like the cute girls doing cute things genre, and it doesn't grate you when you see the same thing over and over again, give it a check. But otherwise, it's just not that great. I also got the recommendation for this week, which I wanted to throw out really quick before we forgot it. There's another Monster Girl show that is also a slice of life show, but I think I also gave that show a check it, but I think I liked it a little bit more than this one, and that is Demi-chan wa Katara. God damn it, Kataritai. I cannot talk. Also known as Interviews with Monster Girls. Short, sweet, to the point. It's about a guy who wants to learn more about monster girls, and he interviews them, and shenanigans ensue. They also lean a lot more into the monster gimmick in this show than is done in Kyuuketsuki-san. So if that's your shtick, I definitely recommend checking that show out.
Yeah, they definitely bring up the lore about the mythos behind the different monsters in that series a lot more. Like, why don't Dillahans like going over passing over rivers? Say, well, they might drop their head and lose it in the river. Okay, that makes sense.
With that, we have Craig.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present to you Exhibit A, The Vampire Who Lives in My Neighborhood. This is a show that is unfortunately forgettable in my eyes. Again, it can't be stated that, as evident by the Kitsu/Mel reviews, people like this, some people don't like this. In my case, I watched it hot off the heels of Uzumade. So comparing apples to oranges, in that case, I found it very serviceable. It was just another moe slice of life, cute girls doing cute things. I wish that they leaned a little bit harder into the mythos and lore of vampire hunters. I wish they actually had some characters stick around longer. But in the end of things, I kind of wish I would rather watch another cute girls doing cute things, like Place Further, or like, as Cami said earlier, Blend S, or friggin' Shirobako. It's kind of unfortunate that, again, we watched that last week. So, I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about a good portion of the show, which is kind of unfortunate, and that's kind of how Cass said it earlier. It's kind of not very memorable after a certain period of time. So I say skip this show. There are better uses of your time.
All right, and now we have come to me. I made this pretty obvious before. I did not really enjoy my time with this show. There's just not a whole lot here that I think is actually worth the time investment. I mean, it's only a one core show, but even then, I think that time could be better spent doing most other things. The show isn't awful or doesn't do anything particularly offensive outside of, the main character being pretty one note, but I think that in and of itself is part of the reason I would say just to skip it, because the fact that it doesn't do anything, at least for me, particularly noteworthy, means that I'm mostly bored, and I would rather be maybe offended or just appalled than just bored. if I'm being completely honest. And that is, for me, the main feeling I had watching this show. And I feel bad because this is the second show Suki has had us watch. And I completely trashed Uzumaid, and now I'm trashing this.
To be fair, I think she gave us Uzumaid because she wanted us to trash
Yeah,
it.
but I think this one she was a little bit more like, oh, I hope they like it, kind of thing. And I'm just like, sorry, didn't. But yeah, even if this sort of thing is like your genre, this is your jam, I think there are better things out there that do what this show is trying to accomplish and do it better. So my rating is a skip it. So with that, we've got 3 check-its and 2 skip-its.
I think that technically is a better rating than Uzumaid, so
That's
You
a
are
better
correct.
that's a better rating than
It is.
Uzumaid, yeah.
That was all skip-its and then a burn it from
Yeah.
Dominic.
Oh yeah.
Dominic was the only one who committed and burned it.
Yeah.
And then Suki gave it a love it.
But yeah, so we will not be doing a spoiler room for this show. We don't really feel it deserves one. So before we go, I want to make one quick announcement. Next week, we will be taking a break. Me and Cassie will be out of town. So we will be back the week after. We hope this is not a huge issue for our listeners, and we ask that you be patient and await our return within the allotted time. Also, our social links, if you want to talk to us on Twitter, we have a Twitter, twitter.com/anychatbox. If you'd like to send us email, fan mail, talking about how much you love us, how much you fucking hate us, we can be reached at anychatmail@gmail.com. You can listen to us on any of these platforms. If you have something else you prefer and you didn't know, we're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and YouTube. As mentioned before, we have a Patreon where you can support us with money because, times are rough. We need
Life's
that
hard,
dough.
fam.
Yeah, times are hard. So our Patreon is www.patreon.com/anychatbox. Sorry about that.
Try saying that 5 times fast.
It's late. It's bedtime.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Those W's, man. Yeah. So shout outs to our current patrons, Sarah, CorpsyAnn, Carol, Suki, who is the reason we even watch this show, and the reason we watch any of our requested shows, and Paul. So with that, we thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Tune in to Save Our Progress. SoundCloud.com/Save Our
Oh
Progress.
yeah. Craig is on Save Our Progress. He does the things, he talks about video games and sometimes anime there too. If you like Craig, which you should because he's pretty cool, you can listen to him on Save Our Progress.
Literally a day ago, you were calling him a butt face.
Craig is a fucking butt face, but he's cool and you can listen to him there. I gotta say nice things.
Who
'Cause I'm
doesn't
the
like
host.
listening to butt faces on podcasts? That's why we listen to podcasts.
E3!
That's true, yeah. Anyways, bye for real.
Oh, yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.